duties in representing the people. 2, we have nominated members of the County Assembly nominated by respective political parties represented in this House for purposes of balancing gender, youth, and other special interests. And the Speaker of the County Assembly is a member of the Assembly who presides over the County Assembly. On behalf of the County Assembly and on my behalf, I welcome the visitors to the assemblies and I wish them a fruitful learning visit. Thank you. I'll allow 2 members to make remarks in the absence of Honorable Kawembe, who is a neighbor. Member for Wote Zio Ward, Honorable Felix Boniface Mateso. Hold on, Honorable Mateso. We seem to have interruptions on this system. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to welcome the pupils, teachers of Kilisa Primary School, Mr. Speaker. I think I know the school where it is, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, this is an opportunity for them to learn on the proceedings of the Assembly, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I would wish them to be very keen and make sure that they leave this place different from what they come with. And Mr. Speaker, at the same time, I want also to give them a word of advice that they should endeavor, wish to be here at one time, and we also wish and pray for them so that at one time they would be our future leaders and come into this assembly. So, Mr. Speaker, we wish them all the best as they learn through the proceedings. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Engineer Joseph Mwema, member for Mukaa Ward.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. I join you together in the Assembly to invite the students and the teachers at the Speaker's Gallery to this Assembly. It's my very sincere hope that it will be a learning experience and also it will be a day of motivation to the students that are within the chamber. And they will find role models to emulate in terms of debate and also contribution, not only to the people of Makueni, but to the whole nation, because it's my firm belief that after today's motivation and after today's session, some of them will be engineers in future, others will be doctors, others will be our representatives at the County Assembly, and also others will be our representatives at the national government or the National Assembly. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, I thank you also for inviting this, for extending this invitation to them to come and learn, or definitely in the Assembly where we are right now. Honorable Speaker, you bring together all these professionals. And apart from the normal debate of opposing that we used to do when we were in primary and secondary, in our normal debates, that we research a lot as representatives of the people. We read a lot as representatives of the people. And therefore, this is the place to be. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity.
Very well, honorable members. For the interest of the students, as you've noted that when we settled, a bell had to be rung. That was not a bell for break time, neither lunch. When members do not attain a quorum or sufficient number for to transact the business, then a bell is rung to attract members who are outside to come in. And the required number to transact business is 16 members out of the 47 members. For the students, the assembly business is contained in a paper, and the agenda is called an order paper, and then the speaker will be asking the clerk seated in my front to read the next order. And an order means the next item agenda. And when that agenda is discussed, then I will direct we proceed to the next. Clerk, next order.
Order number 3, messages.
There being no messages, next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Chairperson, Committee on Environment and Climate Change, to present a report on public petition by residents of Chandulu from Guma Ward regarding distribution of Chandulu borehole water to Ndavoini Shumila Subward.
Honorable Speaker, we indeed prepare ourselves as a committee to respond to that, but the members withdrew that petition through their area MCA. The area MCA is not here. He has confirmed that he has the details, but he would wish to be given more time for him to be here to bring the details.
Honorable Chairperson, a petition cannot be withdrawn without evidence of withdrawal by the
It is the
petitioner.
evidence which he is carrying himself, which we are waiting here.
So it's not yet
It's a
withdrawn.
letter signed by the members who raised the petition, given to the MCA to bring and present to this house that they have withdrawn it.
So how much time do you require to file that?
And that is through this letter, which I'm having. So I think in the next sitting, I believe it's
I have
here.
not seen it. Present it to the clerk.
So through that letter, then that odds has until he comes and presents the evidence of the withdrawal.
This is this letter reads, request for a statement regarding side effects of oil spillage from Kenya Pipeline Company Limited in Thanga Ward. The petition is by residents of Nguma Ward in a different constituency,
Yes.
discussing about a water project in Chandulu in Nguma Ward.
Agreed. Only that whoever drafted the letter did not know how to put it. But already I've talked to the member.
No, Chairperson.
Yes.
This is a letter from the Department of Lands by the county executive.
That's the wrong one. I carry the wrong one. So the thing is, I have talked to the member. He has the withdrawal document with him, but he's not around. We have to wait for him to see the document before we proceed. Withdrawing the petition from the members themselves. So I will withdraw my document kindly through the table office so that the hazard does not capture that. Thank you.
I agree with you.
Yes.
This is a right answer to the wrong question.
Yes. Sometimes it happens. You see, we carry a lot of documents, and we are busy people. And it's good for them also to know that we are very busy people. And in most cases, you interact with a lot of things. So let them also understand it's good at least to have a lot of work at their schools.
But the point is that your homework has been returned and marked.
Yes.
Submit the homework back to the member.
Thank you, sir.
Now, Chairperson, let me advise you that that petition stands still and on until an application to the Speaker is meant and it is satisfactory, it convinces the Speaker that it is a withdrawal. And therefore, you are up to the next sitting to facilitate my office with the same. Chairperson Committee on Health Services to present a report on a public petition by Youth for Sustainable Development, Makueni chapter regarding actualizing the availability, accessibility, acceptability, and quality framework in healthcare service in Makueni. Honorable Elizabeth Muli.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. First, allow me to welcome the pupils and teachers of Kilisa Primary School. Honorable Speaker, I have noted with a lot of interest that the delegation of teachers is all women, and that is an empowerment to the women. And again, it's like they are following suit of the people of Mobauki Kumeni who have also empowered Mheshimiwa Kawembe. So thank you so much and welcome to this house. Honorable Speaker, the Youth for Sustainable Development, YSD Makueni, is a youth-led organization based in Makueni, Kenya, pledged to foster and promote holistic development and Makueni and empowerment among young people and create positive change. And they presented a petition before this House pursuant to Standing Order 228 of the Makueni County Assembly Standing Orders, which was brought before the Assembly on 9th October 2024.
Honorable Mudhike.
Yes?
I'm in the interest of the subject of the content of that petition, I will direct that it is deferred to the next sitting.
Thank you.
It is so voluminous and there's some technical words that will require the chairperson Committee on Health to be available so that you can shed more lights on its content.
That cannot be misquoted to mean that it's only the chair who can understand the terminologies in this report. All members of the Health Committee do understand the contents of this report. Thank you, Honorable.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. And it's for those reasons and others. But I know you are more than able to present that report and you are well educated, master's older, however tall you are. So the students should not confuse you to one of them. Yes, you have seen books very well and you are well read. Thank you very much, Honorable. Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Leader of the majority party, followed by the chairperson Committee on Gender and Sports to lay papers.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I take this opportunity also to welcome the teachers and students of Kilesa Comprehensive School in Kikumini Muvao Ward. I want to welcome them to learn with us and be able to take something home from this assembly. I also want to inform them that this is the basic unit of legislation and representation, and the people who are here just passed through school like you. They were sometimes as young as you are, and they made efforts and read their books very well until they achieved what they have achieved. And as you can see, here we have men and women of integrity who have read books very well. So I encourage you to read books, make efforts to be people who can be of help to this society. So, Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Assembly today, Wednesday, 12th March 2025. The business of the County Assembly for the next sitting week. I lay.
Chairperson Committee on Sports to table the report of the committee in response to a statement regarding transfer of funds meant for league mashinani across all the wards who fund sub-county super cup programs.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the County Assembly today, Wednesday, 12th March 2025. The report in response to a general statement regarding the transfer of funds meant for league mashinani across the ward. Sorry, Honorable Speaker. The Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Assembly today, Wednesday, 12th March 2025, that this Assembly adopts the report. Report in response to general statement regarding transfer of funds meant for league mashinani across the world to fund sub-county super cup programs, laid on the table of the Assembly on 12th March 2025.
Next order. That's what? What's it? Chairperson, Public and Investment Committee. Public Investment Committee. You have a paper to table? Go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Assembly. Today, Wednesday, 12th March 2025 at 2:30 p.m. The report of the Public Investments Committee on consideration of the report of the Auditor General on the Water and Sanitation Company Limited for the years ended 30th June 2018, 30th June 2019, 30th June 2020, 30th June 2021, and 30th June 2022. I lay.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Chairperson, Committee on Gender and Sports, to give a notice of a motion. Followed by Chairperson, Committee on Lands, to give a notice of motion. Chairperson, Committee on Infrastructure and Roads, to give a notice of motion. Chairperson, Committee on Earth Surfaces, to give a notice of motion. Chairperson, Committee on Agriculture. Chairperson, Committee on Environment and Climate Change. In that order, honorable members. Order, honorable matters. Order. You are about to lose your seat as MCA for Watensio Ward. You know the laws very well. You will sit on the majority side of the party, and you cannot cross the floor on the other side. And if you must, you know what is expected of you. So may you resume your seat and walk again and demonstrate what you should do. Chairperson, Committee on Sports, you have given a notice.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Assembly today.
Order, honorable member. The previous subject was geography. Now we are in mathematics, and you are answering mathematics questions on geography, book. So the previous agenda was tabling reports. Now we are on notices of motion. Request?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following paper on the table. give not, sorry, Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion that sorry, Honorable Speaker, let me consult the table office.
Chairperson, member for thank. You did not do your homework very well. What is your point of information?
Mr. Speaker, the honorable chair who has left the floor, who has been confused, was very well organized there before when he was not growing his hair very long. I think he can think of being organized again. Thank you.
Your point of order, member for Muka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wanted to know whether the member from Bitini is in order. To say a chair of a committee is confused, even the presence of the House. Mr. Speaker, when the chair... the member says that...
Come up again.
I was asking whether the member from Bitini is in order to tell a chair that he is confused in the House, while the chair excused himself just to consult the table, which is a procedure, is procedural in this assembly, Mr. Speaker.
Member from Bitini, what?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I'm very in order, Mr. Speaker, because the chair laid the paper himself, and the next order was called, that is notices of motions, and he was laying the paper again. That is being confused, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Member for Thange and Chairperson Committee on Sports.
All right. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I'm not confused, Honorable Speaker. I'm very much compulsed. Only that there was a small confusion. Also, Honorable, in the way the paper was presented, Honorable Speaker. On the same note, Honorable Speaker, I've also asked my colleague because the notices of motion, Honorable Speaker, they are not well drafted. Having said that, Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, Honorable Speaker, that this Assembly adopts the report in response to a general statement regarding transfer of funds meant for Ligi Mashinani across the board to fund Super Cup programs laid on the table of the Assembly on 12th, 2025, March 2025.
Next order. Chairperson, Public Investment Committee, to give a notice of motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to give notice of the following motion. Today, Wednesday, 12th March 2025 at 2:30 p.m., that this Assembly adopts the report of the Public Investments Committee on the consideration of the report of the Auditor General on the Water and Sanitation Company Limited for the years ended 30th June 2018, 30th June 2019, 30th June 2020, 30th June 2021, and 30th June 2022.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Leader of the majority party.
Mr. Speaker, sir, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 47-2A and 55 of the County Assembly Standing Orders, I rise to give a statement on the business of the County Assembly for the next sitting week. Following a meeting of the County Assembly Business Committee held on Wednesday, 12 March 2025, the following business has been tentatively scheduled to be transacted by the County Assembly in the next sitting week, Monday, 7th April 2027. Response to the statement number 010 of 2025 from the Chairperson, Committee on Lands, Urban Planning and Development regarding grabbing of public utility land in Kikima Market in Boni Ward. Motions. 1. That this Assembly adopts the report of the Committee on Health Services on the oversight on the status and operations of health facilities across the county conducted on 26th, 27th, 28th, and 30th September 2024, laid on the table of the Assembly on 10th March 2025. Second motion, that this Assembly adopts the report in response to a general statement regarding transfer of funds meant for League Mashinani across the wards to fund sub-county Super Cup programs, laid on the table of the Assembly on 12th March 2025. On Tuesday, 8th April 2025, morning plenary. Statements. There will be a response to a statement number 12 of 2025 from the Chairperson, Committee on Lands, Urban Planning and Development regarding the implementation of functions transferred to the Emali Sultanahmud municipality. On the same morning plenary of Tuesday, there will be a motion for adoption of the report of the County Public Accounts Committee on the consideration of the report of the Auditor General on the Makueni County Bursary Fund for the period ended June 2025 and June 2023. In the afternoon plenary on Tuesday the 8th of April, on the afternoon plenary, there will be a response to a statement number 13, 2025, from the Chairperson, Committee on Finance and Socio-Economic Planning regarding the County Assembly and the Executive Car Loan and Mortgage Fund. Motions. That this Assembly adopts the report of the Public Investment Committee on consideration of the report of the Auditor General on the Water and Sanitation Company Limited for the year ended 30th June 30th June 2018, 30th June 2019, 30th June 2020, 30th June 2021, and 30th June 2022. On Wednesday, 9th April 2025, statements. There will be a statement to respond to the statement number 14, 2025 from the Chairperson, Budget and Appropriation Committee regarding the implementation status of all headquarter projects since 2013. Honorable Speaker, I want to repeat this for those members who might probably not have gotten this. On Wednesday, 9th April 2025, that's the afternoon plenary, there will be a response to a statement number 14, 2025 from the Chairperson, Budget and Appropriations Committee regarding the implementation status of all headquarter projects since 2013. Honorable Speaker, there will be also a statement, response to a statement number 11, 2025 from the Chairperson, Committee on Environment and Climate Change regarding the non-implementation of climate change mitigation project at Londokwe Dam in Kathonzweni Ward. On the same day, there will be motions. Motion for the adoption of the report of the Committee on Health Services regarding the lack of medical supplies in health facilities in the county, particularly in Ilima Ward, laid on the table of the Assembly on 20th November 2024. Mr. Speaker, there shall be a meeting of the Assembly Business Committee on Monday, 7th April 2025 at 9 a.m. and pursuant to the discussions of that meeting, additional business may be scheduled to be transacted by the County Assembly during that week. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Raleigh Emali Ward to request a statement from Chairperson Committee on Lands and Urban Planning regarding the implementations of functions transferred to Emali Sultan Ahmud Municipality. Allow member, is a point of order related to request a statement by a member from Raleigh Emali? What is the point of order? Member for Nzambani Ivingoni Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would wish to seek much more clarification from the Leader of Majority, who is not listening. The Leader of Majority. Yes, Mr. Speaker, I would wish to seek further information from the Leader of Majority, who has just read us the business that is before us in the future dates that are following. Mr. Speaker, he has stressed on the business that will appear on the 9th of April in the afternoon session, Mr. Speaker, and he requested members to be a little bit more careful when he repeated that in regard to that report from the Budget and Appropriations Committee on flagships. Mr. Speaker, I would have wanted to understand, because he has read a lot of business, but he didn't want to ask members that if they can be much more careful, but he stressed on that and asked members to be careful as he repeated. What was the intention of that? Because I assumed that every other business that appeared on, or else any other business that appears in the order papers are equally important. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Leader of the Majority.
Honorable Speaker, just to respond to the member, in essence, the main purpose of a county government is to develop the county on behalf of the people of that county or the residents. So when we talk of development, we talk of ward projects, which we know. We have ward projects, which we know how we have been doing them. And we have been doing a lot of oversight on the ward projects based on the knowledge we have, because every ward is represented by a member. But when it comes to the HQ projects, it's like we have not had that capture of what actually is happening. So I'm just trying to inform the members that on that date, we shall, because a member has come up with a statement requesting for the same, and on that date, that report will be presented to this House. So it's for the benefit of the people of Makueni and the residents of Makueni that we may get to know the weight of the headquarter projects, because they are development projects, and in most cases, they have direct implication to how we empower our people economically and socially. So thank you.
Honorable members, I'm persuaded that that clarification is sufficient. In the interest of time, we need to proceed. Member for Mulale Malibod.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Article 185.3 of the Constitution 2010, Section 39.2 of the County Government Act 2012, revised 2020, and the Standing Order number 50 of the Makueni County Standing Holders, I raise to request a statement from the Chairperson Committee on Lands, Urban Planning and Development regarding the implementation of functions of transferred to Emali Sultan municipalities. The Speaker, Section 9 of the Urban Act and Cities Act 2011, amended 2019, provides for procedure of confirmed of municipality status to a town, allowing the governor on a resolution of the Assembly to confer the status of municipality to a town that meets the requisite criteria by grant of a charter. The Speaker, in December 2022, the County Assembly approved the Emali Sultan Municipality Charter, leading to conferment of the state municipality status of Emali Sultan Hamud area. Mr. Speaker, sir, for proper functioning of the municipality, certain functions previously preferred by the County Department of Lands and Urban Planning and Development, Environment and Climate Change were transferred from the Department to the Department of Municipality in order to facilitate autonomy of the municipality. Mr. Speaker, since the transfer of the function to the municipality, most of the functions have remained unimplemented by the municipality management. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, the chairperson should therefore clarify on the following. 1, provide a list of all functions which were transferred to the municipality, when such functions were transferred, and all the staffs, whether seconded, all recruited by the municipality, who facilitate the implementation of transferred functions, the list of the staffers against the duties assigned to them. 2, provide a status implementation of each function transferred to the municipality, listing down all projects and programs which have been implemented or being implemented by the municipality. C, whether the municipality has been operating autonomously, and if no, state the reason for the same and the possible solution in order to achieve full autonomy. D, the total amount of money the municipality has received so far and how much of the same has been utilized, indicate the source of the fund received and the project or program funded with the money and the status of each such project or program. E, the number of bank accounts operated by the municipality, giving details to such account number and balances, provide bank statement for the last 1 year, and provide a list of all assets transferred to the municipality, indicating their current status, value, and location. For the vehicles, provide the type and the registration number, and for the land, provide the plot numbers and ownership documents. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chairperson, Committee on Lands, Urban Planning.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, before I give the timelines on which we dare to respond to the statement, Honorable Speaker, I have a lot of interest with municipalities, the same way as the Honorable Member. And Mr. Speaker, with your intentions, Mr. Speaker, I'd wish that because we have the same issues in water municipality, I would wish that if this statement can be extended to cover even the other municipality, Mr. Speaker, because those are issues that even pertains to the water municipality. So, Mr. Speaker, so that we can now respond together instead of bringing another similar statement, Mr. Speaker. That is a request as I give timelines, if it can be extended, Honorable Speaker. But nevertheless, Mr. Speaker, we can give 14 days on that, but that is a request that I just requested.
The point of order, member for Ilima Ward.
From where we sit, we know that's a very able chair who happens to be the representative, or happens to be the mayor. We call him the mayor of whatever municipality. Is he in order to say that he is requesting for the expansion of that statement so that he can also cover water? That is the chair, and he is the one who is going to also handle the matter. It is common knowledge that he needs to expand that information and inclusive and make it more inclusive. Is he not a leader?
On that point of order, the member is out of order, Chairperson. He doesn't need the permission of the Speaker to inquire into matters related to the functions within his jurisdiction and mandates. It is asking someone to spend money in your pocket. Who do you consort to spend money in your pocket? But thank you for reminding yourself. If anything, the member from Mulala Emali Ward ought not to have requested for this statement. The committee on its own motion should have inquired into this matter and tabled a report without a request for a statement. Should you find it necessary, then to include over and above what has been requested by a member from Mulala Emali, it is within your powers and mandate. So you don't need to. Honorable Jets Kalunda.
Thank you, Honorable Speakers. Now that you've already guided, I was in the same opinion, but still, I just want to pity what the Honorable Chair is going through. He wants to make some statements, but he is not able to. His hands are tied. Honorable Speaker, I want to advise him that he can use Honorable Kaleli's statement to even enrich this further to even a motion, because he can try to bring the statement, but still at the same time, because he has the powers as the chair and also the committee, and the committee directly oversees this department. Honorable Speaker, they may even find it wise
to include more issues to do with municipalities, not just excluding the municipality of Emali Sultan. So I would wish, and I want to challenge him, because he seems not to use the tools he has as the chair for the Committee on Lands, which directly oversees this department, Honorable Speaker, to use those powers to enrich what Honorable Mutunga is asking this assembly to help him with by increasing the more questions and also by making it a resolution of this assembly to pass some of the recommendations to the committee, that is to the two municipalities which are in operation. So I want to challenge him, Honorable Speaker, let him not limit himself to this statement by the Honorable Member for Emali, but to enrich it, to enlarge it, to even elongate it, to accommodate issues and matters to do with both the municipality of Wote and also municipality of Emali Sultan. And in essence, Honorable Speaker, to be a good precedent for any other municipality which may come in future, because you will have already outlined and also enumerated issues which you have already handled beforehand. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and the challenges to the Committee on Lands led by the Honorable Member for Water. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Chair, you proceed and provide that response within the next 14 days. Ensure that requisite documentation to prove are attached. 14 days. 2, it is within your powers, if you wish to extend, including to inquire the status of the third municipality, including proposing to establish a new municipality. So that's up to you. You may alongside that, or you may pick it independently, depending on how you feel you're gonna save more time. And I'm persuaded that we need to make progress, honorable members. We have so much interventions and not covering business. Honorable Mateso, I'm persuaded that matter is rested. Yes. Member from Lale Mali, what would request for a statement? Honorable members, I will allow members who have statements to request. You know, the points of orders against members who are pushing to cover business are not very useful. Unless you have raised a statement, I may not allow you to raise objections. Go ahead, Member from Lale Mali.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Article Standing Order number 50 of Makuene County Assembly Standing Orders, I rise to request a statement from the Chairperson, Budget and Appropriation Committee, regarding the implementation status of OHQ project since 2023. Honorable Speaker, sir, in the statement, the Chairperson should provide complete information on the following. 1, the implementation status of OHQ project since 2013, when devolution began, that is. The operationalization status. 3, the financial year funded. And 4, the scope for every funding. This is very essential. It will cover everything in all those projects. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chairperson, Budget and Appropriation Committee. Chairperson, Budget and Appropriation. Instead of a point of order, can you take that assignment first? You need to listen. I direct that you resolve that matter within the next 14 days. You will get to know what it is after. Member from Lale Mali, what to request for a statement?
Thank you. Finally, Honorable Speaker, I have a statement concerning the motion, the mortgages, and in pursuant to the provision of Article 185(3) of the Constitution 2010, Section 39(2) of the County Government Act 2012, revised 2020, and the Standing Order number 50 of Makuene County Assembly Standing Orders, I rise to request for a statement from the Chairperson Committee on Finance, Socio-Economic Planning regarding the County Assemblies and Executive Car Loan and Mortgage Fund. The Speaker, the Car Loan and Mortgage Fund is a revolving fund.
What's the point of order?
Honorable Speaker, I want to know whether it's in order for the member for Emali Mulala to request for a statement from the Committee on Finance when he's a member of the Committee on Finance.
Honorable member, you are a member of Committee on Finance. And did you read that you are requesting from which committee? Did you read? So what did you read? Requesting a statement? Enough. You are not in order. You should have recused yourself. Ultimately, that request for statement will be directed to the Committee on Finance. Therefore, being a member of Committee on Finance, I'm afraid you do not qualify to do so. And therefore, I do not know how I can assist you. Implementation Committee has to do with the resolutions of the County Assembly. You are not requesting for status of implementation of County Assembly. Your statement is on inquiry. So it's either by a member other than a member of Committee on Finance. You may find another member to request it on your behalf, not on your behalf, to absolutely get it asked by another member, but not yourself. Honorable Mudhike, you are in order on that particular matter. Member for Kadhonsoni Ward to request for statement from Chairperson Committee on Environment and Climate Change.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, pursuant to the provision of Article 185, Section 3 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, Section 39(2) of the County Government Act 2012, revised 2020, and Standing Order 50 of the Makueni County Assembly Standing Orders, I arise to request for a statement from the Chairperson Committee on Environment and Climate Change regarding the non-implementation of climate change mitigation project at Londokwe Dam in Kadhonsoni Ward. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the financial year 2023-2024, the Kadhonsoni Ward budget allocated 2 million in the Department of Lands, Urban Planning and Development, Environment and Climate Change, fuel for desilting of Londokwe Dam using the county machinery. An additional Kenya shillings 2 million was also allocated in the financial year 2024-2025 supplementary budget for the same activity. Mr. Speaker, sir, the project was a climate change mitigation program aimed at, among other things, to watershed restoration and desilting of the Londokwe Dam and provide water to the people living in Davu and its environment in Kadhonsoni Ward. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is now 2 years down the line since the initial allocation was made and the project has not commenced. This in spite of the dire water shortage being faced by the intended beneficiaries of the project. No plans for implementation have been made known and the fate of the project remains unknown. Mr. Speaker, sir, the chairperson should therefore clarify on the following. 1, whether the department is aware of the said project of desilting of Londokwe Dam. 2, why the department has failed to implement the project almost 2 years since the initial allocation was made. 3, whether the budget allocation have spent, and if yes, how much has been spent, and on what activities providing the supporting documents. 4, if no, confirm the availability of the allocation or the available balances in the cases where expenditures have been incurred. 5, the short-term plans the department has put in place to provide water to the residents of Davu and its environs who are the targeted beneficiaries of the delayed project. 6, the plans department has put in place to desilt the dam as was planned and budgeted. And 7, when will the works commence and be completed? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chairperson, Committee on Water. 14 days, you respond to that matter. It's all directed. Next is Chairperson Committee on Water to respond to a statement as requested by member Fonzau Kalamba Ward regarding the irrigation scheme. Honorable members, the chairperson has indicated to me that they have the response ready. They discussed with the member, they discussed with the respective member, and they are further requesting to develop that response into a report. That notwithstanding, because the response is ready, I direct that it be tabled by the chairperson and the committee to proceed and develop a report. What is the point of order?
I know the business ahead of us is much, but Mr. Speaker, I'm rising on a point of order. My concern is now it is 14 days since I raised a statement regarding the pathetic condition of my roads. And Mr. Speaker, you know we
Order member.
We are going to rains.
Order member for Kathonswini. You have raised a statement. I've given you 14 days on Londok. If you have a supplementary issue and a statement, wait until we conclude the business on statement before us. Then you can raise at that
Well
point.
guided, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Chairperson Committee on Agriculture and Livestock to give a response to statement as member from Lale Mali Ward regarding implementation of various agriculture projects in the county. Chairperson. Vice Chair. Yes, then Kimungo will need to request. Who is on a point of order? Chairperson, Committee on Agriculture. Vice Chair. Before we go to the point of order, we are dealing with the matter of agriculture. You are a member of Committee on Agriculture? Yes, proceed on the same.
Number 43(2), in the sequence of orders, I would depend, because I am concerned about the mood of the House, I would require that you consider deferring the matters of the statement so that we can deal with the motions, and specifically the motion number 9, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
It is that about the mood or it's your wish?
Which of them? The mood of the House, Honorable Speaker.
You can't measure.
And I wish so. That is my wish, Honorable.
That is your wish, yes. You know, you have a way of conveying that which you feel it is important for you. So if that was raised through your leader of minority, who is your leader in this House? Or the leader of the majority, who would have persuaded me, then I will pick that is the mood in minority and majority, and then that being the case, we do so. Otherwise, what happens to a member who would want, like Honorable Maneno, who would wish to be added on a matter of a statement that 14 days have expired, reins are on. So I hear what you're saying, but what we have here, the chances are that some chairpersons have not. But since you are the requester on a statement on agriculture by Chairperson Committee on Agriculture, I gather the mood that you are not interested for now. It is deferred until when we resume from recess. Chairperson Committee on Lands, a statement as requested by member for Kikumini Muvau, Honorable Kawembe, did indicate to me that it will be away and that our business be deferred. Chairperson Committee on Transport, to give a response to statement as requested by member for Mulala Emali Ward regarding delayed payment of plant operators in the county. The member has indicated that he has a interest in another business, so his statement, member for Mulala Emali, based on that strength, I defer your question to the next sitting. Chairperson Committee on Health Services to give a response to statement by member for Kathonzweni regarding delayed payment of hospital casuals across the county. I'm afraid I may not defer that. Honorable member, we are discussing. Lastly, when we were at Kamukunji, our last agenda, Honorable Tivu, was what? What COB? So why are you biased? We should also discuss the COB status of hospital casuals. You recall yesterday evening? Yes, we took some time to discuss your COB, control of budget. So I'm also interested in the controller of budget casual workers. Yes. Proceed, Honorable Mudhike. This is tax precedence of any other business.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The request of a statement is Honorable Maneno. I hope he's going to get in as we continue.
You proceed. The healthcare workers are superior to Honorable Maneno. And it's
Thank
not
you,
limited to
Honorable
his ward.
Speaker. You will then allow me to go directly to the questions and the response.
In order.
Honorable Speaker, the questions as raised by the member for Kadonzweni were: 1, the reasons for the delayed payment of wages to the hospital casual workers up to date. The executive committee member informed the committee that the delay was occasioned by late disbursement of funds to the health facilities and the Danida matching grant funds for level 2 and 3 facilities of Kenya shillings 12.6 million were available and had been deposited in the special purpose account for disbursement to the rural health facilities. The donor component of 11.4 million was still awaited. Number 2, when the funds will be available for payment and payment done to casual workers. 2, Honorable Speaker, the executive committee member reiterated that the funds mentioned above of Kenya shillings 12.6 have been approved for disbursement to the rural health facilities. This was done on Tuesday, 4th March 2025, and the funds are available in the facility accounts or were available in the facility accounts on 5th March 2025. He added that the facilities were at varied level of payment of casual staff based on monies received from different revenue streams, including NHIF and SHA. Once this payment is done, the facilities that will be lagging way behind will have paid their casuals up to December 31st, 2024. The department was processing another Kenya shillings 5.965 million for rural health financing vote line at the headquarters. He confirmed that once the funds will be available, the facilities will be up to date with cash of payments, and the exact status after the process of the payment with the Kenya shillings 12.6 million will be availed in a report on or before 18th March 2025. 3, what measures are put in place to ensure the delay does not recur in future? The executive committee member pointed out that the envisioned long-term solution for payment of casual staff at the facilities was the financing of facilities by the Primary Health Care Fund, managed by the Social Health Authority, where all facilities have been empaneled, and the practice has been use of donor monies, mainly Danida, which with a matching fund from the county government. This was affected with the delays as shown above. He stated that the financial year 2024-25, a budget was set aside at the headquarters and had been utilized to ensure the delays were minimized as above, and the Department of Health Services was in discussion with the Department of Finance to ensure that in the next financial year, the systems will be in place and the budget is retained specifically for payment of cash or wages to ensure a smooth process. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, comment, if any. Chairperson, I take note that we discussed this matter yesterday. It's a matter that we cannot be showing. As you've noted that the executive committee member reiterated that 12,636,000 had been approved for disbursement to rural health facilities. This was done on Tuesday, 4th of March, and the funds were available in the facility account. The same was, I think, indicated yesterday that the requisitions are at the office of the executive committee member for finance when the ECM was reached out. Was that the case? Is this the same issue?
Honorable Speaker, what is before the ECM is the 5-point-something million. The 12 is already at the facility with the facilities.
So when will the 5.9 million be disbursed?
That is what they are saying. There will be a report on or before 18th of March 2025.
You are satisfied with 18th or earlier?
Honorable Speaker, we will still do a letter to the ECM.
I'm asking you, Chair.
Yes.
You are satisfied with 18th or you want an earlier report? What do you require from me?
We are pushing for an earlier report, Honorable Speaker,
Yes.
because we also want to get to the bottom of this matter, because it's paining, yes, for us as Sanaus and even the county government of Makueni. So if we get an earlier report, it is good for the committee.
I give directions that the executive, that the 18th of March request is declined and thereof replaced with 14th of March, the Friday of this week. The executive committee member to be advised to file that report on that particular day. That report, clerk of the County Assembly, to be conveyed to the chairperson of the committee and the speaker for further directions, because this has to do with a very sensitive sector in service delivery. You never know the deterioration of the services in the respective dispensaries and health centers may be as a result of demotivation of healthcare workers and support system. So chairperson, when you'll get this, I will direct that you'll have to transform these responses in form of a report and making very serious recommendations for this particular sector. Take note that the responsibility of, I don't know the NIDA, I don't know SHA, there is only one government of Makueni that engaged these cash shows. How your parties and staff are not paid because of IMIS, it is not their business. Their business is, as a member, you engaged officers and you must pay salaries. How your house girl is not paid salaries because of late disbursement by an county treasurer is not our business. You have to find a way of sorting her. Then how, as a member of county assembly, you will negotiate with the clerk, share car loan and mortgage and borrow, executive, county revenue account, that is a different story. So chair, you have to address that matter. Whenever we are requesting for information, then the executive is quick to point out to another government agency, as if these are two governments engaging one client. So the first line responsibility is us. And therefore, this recommendation has to come out very clearly, and we must protect these people from this jargon of national government, FIF, DANIDA, SHA, FIF, and so many other things. So endeavor to do so. Chairperson, Committee on Agriculture, to respond to a statement as requested by member for Gu Masumba Ward regarding a grabbed cattle dip. It was grabbed a while back, so I don't think it will be recovered between now and tomorrow, and the member is absent. Deferred. Chairperson, Committee on Gender Sports, to give a response to statement as was requested by member for Ukia Ward regarding expenditure of purchases of seed organized groups in Ukia Ward and the Social Protection Program, Office GBV, Management Support of Vulnerable Groups. Request of the statement. Chairperson. Chairperson, where is the response? Proceed. Member for Ukia, were you invited to the committee? Have you looked at the response?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we invited...
Chairperson, member for Ukia, hold on. Yes?
Yes, the chair invited me to the committee today, and we went through some of the responses, and actually some were not satisfactory, and we agreed. He seeks some more clarification on some of the responses.
How much time do you require to supply additional information?
The next sitting, Honorable Speaker.
The next sitting?
Yes.
Fair enough. Endeavor to do so in the next sitting. I take note. Chairperson, Committee on Environment and Climate Change, to give a response to a statement as requested by member for Thange Ward regarding the effects of oil spillage from Kenya Pipeline Company Limited in Thange Ward. Chairperson, Committee on Environment. Member for Muka. Chairperson, Committee on Environment, to give a response to statement on Thange oil spillage.
Thank Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I dedicated that duty because of some issues. I don't know why the members worked out, but just give me a minute, I consulted
Who did you dedicate to?
the member for Elima.
Member for Elima?
Yes, because of 1, 2, 3. But let me consult, just a minute.
You are unwell?
My body, not me. My body is relaxing, but I'm okay.
Next order. That statement is deferred.
Order number 8, the Makueni County Public Participation and Civic Education Bill 2025. That is the Makueni County Assembly Bill number 1 of 2025. Order for first reading.
Honorable members, I call upon the clerk to read the Makueni County Public Participation Bill and the Civic Education of 2025, first time.
The Makueni County Public Participation and Civic Education Bill 2025, which is the Makueni County Assembly Bill number 1 of 2025. A bill for an act of the County Assembly of Makueni to give effect to paragraph 14 of part 2 of the 4th schedule of the Constitution to provide for a legal framework for the effective coordination, facilitation, and management of public participation and civic education in the county government processes and for connected purposes. First reading.
Honorable members, the Makueni Public Participation and Civic Education Bill of 2025, having been read for the first time, that is first reading, stands committed to the Committee on Devolution on the Public Participation and County Administration, pursuant to provision of Standing Order number 145, and report back to the County Assembly within 20 days. 20 days. Next order.
Order number 9, motion, the report of the County Public Accounts Committee on consideration of the report of the Auditor General on County Executive of Makueni for the year ended 30th June 2023.
Chairperson, Public Investments, Chairperson, Public Accounts Committee.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move the following motion that this Assembly adopts the report of the County Public Accounts Committee on consideration of the report of the Auditor General on County Executive of Makueni for the year ended 30th June 2023, laid on the table of the Assembly on the 11th March 2025. Honorable Speaker, this is rather a voluminous report, but hopefully members will bear with me. Yes. Honorable Speaker, the county executive had a qualified opinion in this report. And the first issue raised by the auditor was about variances between financial statement and IFMI's payment details. Honorable Speaker, we had a variance of 773,256,942 with IFMI's statement posting less by that margin from the actual financial statements. And upon interrogation, the management did allude that the difference or the variance was as a result of delayed payments done after June 30th, of course, due to late exchequer release. And they had reconciled the statement as is indicated in the report, whereby general reconciliation was done. We did a reconciliation on compensation of employees. They did a reconciliation on use of goods and services. They did a reconciliation on transfer to other government entities. They did a reconciliation on grants and assets. And the committee did find that indeed it is true that there were late disbursements way after 30th June, which occasioned this variance. And the committee recommends that them for derogation on their first report, sometimes once we resume from recess. Honorable Speaker, there was a query on misclassification of expenditure, whereby receipts and payments reflects acquisition of assets amounting to 1,519,565,700, and included in this is construction and civil works expenditure of 1.2 million, as disclosed in Note 9. Review of expenditure schedules revealed that payments totaling to 41,977,782 were irregularly charged to construction and civil works instead of being reported and transferred to other county entities. This is in relation to Makueni Fruit and Marketing Authority. And during this year under review, payments done to NARIG amounted to 21,060,702. MCFDMA worth 17,167,000. Makueni Sand Conservation and Utilization Authority amounted to 3.7 million were captured as an expenditure item in the IFMIS system and budgeted under other infrastructure and civil works, whose ledger is construction and civil works. However, the funds were transferred to NARIG, Makueni County Sand Conservation and Utilization, and MCFDMA, local bank accounts, and reportedly independent by the entities. Upon interrogation, the committee found out that the management did not exercise budgetary control measures as provided for in the PFM Act by irregularly charging these amounts in the separate entities instead of being reported and transferred to county entities. And so the committee recommends that the Treasury should institute disciplinary action to the officer responsible for this failure because this clearly contravened the PFM Act, Regulation 42. Expenditure charged on the wrong account. The statement of receipts and payments reflects acquisition of assets amounting to 1.5 million. Included in the amount is expenditure of 129,249,481 on account of purchase of seats as disclosed in Note 9. The expenditure includes staff allowances, paid and fuel expenses worth 4.7 and 1.2 respectively. Honorable Speaker and members, if you can remember, there was a time we had the purchase and distribution of seats whereby each ward had an allocation of 5 million. What the auditor is alluding is that there was a recurrent component in this tender, whereby money for fuel, money for allowances, and so forth should not have been charged on a development vote. So this is exactly what the auditor is questioning. So they did respond that the county assembly appropriated for procurement of farm inputs, proficient certified seeds, for 5 million per ward. The total amount for the 30 wards was 150 million, which was posted under development vote. The budget activities included purchase of the commodity, supply and distribution of the seeds, mobilization and transportation and so forth. And the expenditures in relation to daily subsistence allowance and fuel and lubricants items represent direct costs to the projects as provided for in the IPSAS 17, which is gathered by IPSAS 27 on the biological assets. Elements of cost shall include any cost directly attributable to bringing the asset to the location and condition necessary for it to be capable of operating in a manner intended by the management. It was for this reason that 4.7 million was paid to staff, being allowances for mobilization and identification of beneficiaries, training of beneficiaries, monitoring and supervision, and suppliers were also paid for fuel and transport costs, as appendixed in Appendix 5 with me here. Honorable Speaker, the committee made an observation that the accounting officer did not exercise proper budgetary control measures as provided for in Regulation 42 of the PFM Act by allowing payment of allowances and fuel expenses which are not recurrent in nature to be charged under the development vote. The amount of 6,202,687 on allowances and fuel expenses were part of the 150 million budget for provision of certified seats under the development vote. The committee recommends that in future, the end of treasury should ensure that all expenditures are charged in the correct fault lines to ensure compliance with the law. Also, in future, the head of treasury should ensure that there is clear separation in the budget lines on recurrent and development expenditures. There was an issue on irregular charging of transfers of funds to other operating expenses items, whereby the statement of receipts and payments reflects use of goods and services, an amount of 2.7 million. Included in the amount is an expenditure of 1.7 for operating expenses, as disclosed in Note 4 of the financial statements. The expenditure on the operating expenses includes transfers of grants and payments to various projects, totaling to 1.4 billion as per the expenditure schedules reviewed. The transfer to other entities amount to irregularly expensed under the other operating expenses. The circumstances, the accuracy and the completion of the operating expenses amounted to 1.7 billion could not be confirmed. The management responded as follows. In the year under review, some payments in relation to transfers of grants and payments to various projects were captured as expenditure item in the IFMIS system and budgeted under the other operating expenses. However, the funds were transferred to the respective entities, local banks, and reported independently by the entities. You can see the attached documents. Honorable Speaker, the committee observed that some payments in relation to transfer of grants and payments for various projects were captured in an expenditure item in the IFMIS system and budgeted under other operating expenses, which is a contravention of PFM section 131 on proper budgetary control measures. This, however, was regularized in the subsequent supplementary budget. So, Honorable Speaker, even though this was regularized, the committee recommends that in future, the county treasury should ensure that all expenditures are posted in the correct fort, with the program identified, whether recurrent or development. Honorable Speaker, on the emphasis of matter, we had an issue with budgetary control and performance, whereby the final receipts show that the actual amounts, the recurrent and development, both, and the final amounts dispensed show an underfunding of 11%. Similarly, there is an under expenditure of 14%. We have an underfunding of 11% and an under expenditure of 14%. Mathematically, we can say, even if the county treasury had received all the amount they had budgeted for, they would still have underperformed by 25%. The underfunding and under expenditure affected implementation of the projects and activities as planned, which negatively affected service delivery to the people of Makueni. In response, the Treasury responded that the budget underfunding was as a result of appropriation in aid for hospitals amounting to 454 million, amounting to 454,968,896 spent at sources and not recognized in the county executive statement of comparative budget and actual amounts. In addition, non-remittance of 110,638,208 in relation to conditional allocation and leasing of medical equipment deducted at source did not form part of the county executive receipts and expenditures. Notably, the county government had a revenue performance of 97%, with the main cause of budget underfunding being the under collection of on-source revenue of 193,404,014 shillings. Further, the under expenditure was due to minimum operations at the beginning of the financial year due to government transition. In order to address the under collection on all-source revenue, the department enumerated a number of measures. One, to leverage on the economy through entrenching cashless mode of payment and sensitization of customers on the use of various payment gateways. Two, embracing technology in enforcement through the use of enforcement app to track and validate receipt transactions. Three, enhanced land-based revenue mobilization through implementation of the county fast valuation role. Enhance revenue supervision for all the streams and instituting staff rotation to address risks associated with familiarity as shown on the staff rotation. Restructuring revenue directorate by creating dedicated divisions to handle various aspects of revenue administration, including policy and accounting, integrating other systems associated with revenue administration. Committee found out that budget underfunding was as a result of under collection of on-source revenue and appropriation in aid for hospital expenses spent at source. However, effective measures have been put in place to attain the targeted revenue. Under expenditure was due to minimal operations at the beginning of the financial year due to government transition. There was no adequate budgetary control as provided for under Regulation 42. And the committee recommends that the county should fully implement the strategies highlighted to attain the desired on-source revenue targets. It should put in place a legislation affecting Section 160 of the Public Finance Management Act by establishing a revenue board or authority for effective collection of on-source revenue, and the prompt was reported within 90 days after adoption of this report. Honorable Speaker, we did check at some counties. We realized like Embu have Embu County Revenue Board. A county like Siaya, they have Siaya County Revenue Authority. So we thought that if the county can have a separate body to collect revenue as opposed to the department, this could help. Also ensure compliance with Regulation 42 of the Public Finance Management Act on budgetary control measures. On pending bills, the entity has a pending bill with Kenya Revenue Authority, with CFC Financial Services, and on this as submissions, which was somehow satisfactory, but the committee recommended that the executive should strictly follow guidelines on debt service payments as stipulated from that fort. The response was that the Department of Lands and Urban Planning were the ones who wanted to sensitize the members. So it was their program, and so they were obligated to pay for the members. And indeed, the committee agreed with the department or with the Treasury that indeed that was the way it should have been gone, it should have been done, and the matter was resolved. On irregular award of tender for provision of insurance medical cover, Honorable Speaker, the county government over this year entered into a contract with an insurance company by the name AAR, which had been paid 100,000 and another 98,000, another 99,000 and 999. 98,999,999 for provision of comprehensive medical cover for its staff, whereby a review of documents reviewed that tender document under item number 15 required commitment letters by bidders to provide uninterrupted cover for inpatient and outpatient, chronic HIV/AIDS, congenital, preterm, pre-existing genital, optical, and all that. The contract, however, had a special clause limiting staff members in job group A to J, who make up 3/4 of the total staff, from accessing services in major hospitals in Kenya. And the auditor alluded that this was discriminatory. Upon interrogation, the management admitted that there was oversight by the management, and once they realized this oversight, they called for negotiation, which led to a signing of a deed of variation, which formed part of the contract. Honorable Speaker, I need to say that we all know that this oversight may have been noted when members raised their voices, and even in this House, a member requested a statement on the same. And probably that is why that oversight, that is when that oversight was realized. We were provided with minutes of negotiation, and upon further interrogation, the committee, in pursuit for further interrogation, the committee did invite several players in this matter, and we did call the acting director, supply chain management. Then we also called the chief officer, office of the governor. Then, and we also called representatives of AAR Kenya to appear before the committee on the 28th of October, 2024. During that day, members of the evaluation committee submitted themselves before the committee, and they did allude that 3 firms expressed interest for the tender, namely AAR, Madison, and Jubilee. That at the time of preliminary evaluation, all the documents were provided. This included the medical scheme proposal with a commitment letter provided in page 558 of the policy, as was needed under requirement number 15 of the tender document. The same scheme had limiting clauses under page 517, with a cover excluding facilities, some facilities to job group A to F and G to H. However, the evaluation team did not scrutinize the entire contents of the medical scheme proposal. They also alluded that the technical score out of the possible 95, Jubilee Health Insurance Company scored 95, AAR scored 91, and Manson scored 62. Only Jubilee Health Insurance and AAR were qualified in the technical evaluation. The county had budgeted for 215 for the medical insurance. AAR Kenya and Jubilee Insurance quoted 198,999,9999 and 473,787,867 respectively. AAR Kenya was within the budget and therefore was awarded the tender. The scores were done, another submission by the evaluation committee, the scores were done and forwarded to the head of procurement for consideration. That they also alluded that the evaluation committee was not involved in the deed of amendment to the contract. Once they realized that oversight, they were not involved in the deed of amendment. We did interrogate the then acting director, supply chain, one Mr. Mutevu, who alluded that he is the one who advised on the open tender. He prepared the tender document and uploaded to the portal. He alluded that the special clause on page 517 as submitted was not considered, since it was not part of the tender documents required. Evaluation committee considered the commitment letter under page 558 as required in the tender document. He provided technical advice on the tender as provided for in the Public Procurement and Disposal Act. Then he provided a professional opinion based on the evaluation committee report to the accounting officer, culminating the signing of contract by the relevant chief officer. We did have Zipporah Wambua appear before the committee, who was the then CEO acting office of the governor. She was acting chief officer, office of the governor, up to 14th September 2022. She raised the requisition based on the cabinet paper and the approved budget. She liaised with the Human Resource, Health Department, and Legal Department during the process. She submitted that the budget was inclusive of the recruited ECD teachers and whom were not beneficiaries of the previous medical scheme. That's why the scheme was coming a little bit higher. She proposed that due to the dynamics of insurance and county, the county should consider adding the budget. Then we also interviewed Francis Duku, the acting CEO, Chief Officer. Honorable Speaker and members, it's good to note that we are 2 chief officers, acting chief officers, serving over this period of the entire procurement process. One up to the time of requisition of the budget, of requisition of the raising of the cabinet paper and requisition, and the other one taking up, who is now Francis Duku. He was a chief officer, office of the governor from 5th December 2022. He submitted that special conditions, the tender document were not considered, despite being part of the submissions by the bidder. He submitted that the county attorney, the county secretary, acting director procurement, and predecessor chief officer, acting chief officer under role to advise in the entire process. He submitted that the contract implementation committee reviewed the new clause that had not been considered during the evaluation stage, submitted that there was no extra funds paid for the contract after the variation, after the deed of variation, submitted that a deed of amendment was approved and the disciplinary course amended, and all the school had received quite a colossal amount of money from the county treasury. So we found that there was no value for money. You cannot cap fund an institution that has no students. And even some of the renovations that had been done were shoddy, they were in very bad state, and some of the procurables that had been procured, they had not reached the school. And so we made a recommendation that the tools and equipment that the accounting officer responsible for the of ICT, education, and leadership should institute recovery of the undelivered tools, equipment, and training materials within 30 days after adoption of this report. The contractor who did the poor workmanship should be blacklisted and should never be contracted to undertake any work by the county government in future. And the accounting officer in charge of education, ICT, and leadership should take personal responsibility and institute recovery measures within 90 days of any monies that were lost in this tender. Honorable Speaker, I'm almost concluding. Anomalies in e-procurement system, we realized that there were anomalies, and we did make a recommendation that all procurements should be done through the e-system, and use of manual payroll. The auditor had an issue with payment of manual payroll, and which should be done through IPPD system. And the committee recommends that the human resource manager should always ensure that there is compliance on the payment of non-payment of manual payroll, but instead use the IPPD system. Poor management of temporary interest. These are matters that are listed, a lot of it, and we had cases whereby we could not ascertain the amount of money that had been paid as interest to sub-counties, to different banks. Honorable Speaker, looking at this matter, it was a little bit complex for the committee, and we recommend that ESCC should take up the matter and investigate this issue of interest. In the subsequent years, the head of officials should always ensure that there is compliance to the law. Honorable Speaker, that is it. The general findings and recommendations are a summation of the individual finding from each particular query, and also a recommendation on each of the particular query. is what we've summed up together into 10 recommendations and 10 observations. With that, Honorable Speaker, allow that I invite my Vice Chair to second the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to second the motion, the report. And of course, most importantly to note is that where there was no value for money, especially when contractors did some shoddy jobs, the recommendations are very clear. Some of the companies involved were blacklisted, were recommended to be blacklisted and never to work again in this county, including that of the insurance that offers substandard services to our people. And for example, when we talk about ZNTCTI, an institution that consumed over 7 million on renovation had only one student, meaning that there was no value for money, and we recommended repurposing of that institution. And on matters of Emali, where the shoddiness was done in the modern market and the sheds, we made such recommendations. And most to consider is when the officer in charge must take responsibility and the recovery to be done for those who are responsible for any loss of money or public resources. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I second.
All right, honorable members, I now propose the question that this assembly adopt the report of the County Public Accounts Committee on the consideration of the report of the Retired General of the County Executive of Makueni for the year ended 30th of June 2023, laid on the table of the Assembly on 11th of March 2025. The floor is open for debate. Member for Kikumbulu South Pond.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I stand to support this motion. I had to put my voice on this because I have diligently worked with the Committee on PSC in the past, and I want to believe they have done a good job, as always has been the case when I was serving in that committee. I want also to congratulate the committee through the leadership of the Honorable Member from Mawendene, Honorable Kimongo, for making it very objective and no sensational reporting, and also recommendation in this report. And I want to congratulate them, and I wish them all the best as they continue safeguarding and watchdogging in matters to do with the resources in this county. I want to compliment whatever they are doing with a good big yes when this is called upon. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I wish members to give a big yes. I understand and I like their reporting on blacklisting of contractors. That should be the way to go. Honorable Speaker, this is a precedence which is going to be done by this committee and this assembly as a representative of the people of Makueni and Kenya and beyond, Honorable Speaker, to make it very serious to joke with county resources, public resources, Honorable Speaker. And I want to assure them that as a leadership of this assembly, we will allow them to do whatever possible to make sure that prudence in public resources is ascertained all the time. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And if they continue with this same kind of spirit, Honorable Speaker, we will have a very clean report going forward. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And that reporting on blacklisting of contractors must happen. And as we are supposed to be the chairs of the Committee on Implementation, I want to even challenge the current chairmanship of the committee to make sure that this is observed without any further ado. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Member for Bidini.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support that report, Mr. Speaker, and also appreciate the team. Mr. Speaker, members are aware that the report has taken almost an hour to go through it by the chair. And Mr. Speaker, some of the queries were very key to this house, Mr. Speaker. For example, the expenditure charged in wrong accounts. That was the money we allocated as a house to purchased seeds to the wards, Mr. Speaker, and the money was made for development, Mr. Speaker, and you found that 4.7, Mr. Speaker, was used to pay allowances to staff and the other individuals, Mr. Speaker. So the recommendations were very clear. That money should be used for a specific purpose. If it is meant for development, it should be used for development. If it's meant for allowances, it should be for allowances, Mr. Speaker. We can't reallocate money for people to use it as allowances, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the issue on insurance, Mr. Speaker, the AR insurance, Mr. Speaker, that year, Mr. Speaker, there were so many outcry from the public, Mr. Speaker, and the staff who suffered a lot when they visited the hospitals, Mr. Speaker. And then, Mr. Speaker, it was so sad for a company that is very well known in this country to have a limiting clause, hidden clause, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the policy was in page 558, but another clause in page 5.
Happened and transpired to those amounts because they could not be traced. We could not find anywhere where there was surrender. And so we thought there could have been some malice and malpractice in the sub-county ward impressed accounts. So, Honorable Speaker, I know it's a report that contains many recommendations, and we would ask the members to support this report. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Member for Kakwaya Ward.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. First, I support the report which has been presented to us. Honorable Speaker, I've just highlighted about 3 items which I will go first. And I feel that there is a lot of malpractice, and the people out, especially the executive there, they don't care because 246 million, which was not accounted for, and also not justified or explained, because at the end of the day, that means we have lost 246 million through our staff, that is county government of Makueni, and nobody cares where the money was used. There is no, they did not account according to Section 93 of Public Finance Regulation Act 2015, which states that an officer should surrender the cash or the interest within 7 days. It was not surrendered, it was not accounted for, and we don't care as a county government of Makueni. Also, I've seen that on light grading, and also you have mentioned about fuels, money which was used for fuels and all that. Members of this assembly, the next budget, let us do away with light grading and development. That is a routine and repair maintenance for our roads, which is recurrent in nature, especially the light grading and heavy grading. That is not a project. And just the other day, I received an invitation to go and commission light grading and MTF. Just imagine what a joke by the county government of Makueni through the executive wing of department. Mr. Speaker, I think we could have gotten more time to debate on this matter because it's weighty, and thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Is it a request that I defer to put the question? Mover of the motion. Order, don't be so much in quick.
Okay, thank you. I was saying that I take cognizance of the contribution of members. Allow that I only respond to one issue raised by Honorable Mwema, that we have mentioned the law about once an officer contravenes this law, this is what should be done. We only gave a benefit of doubt by inviting the ESCC to agree with us on our observation. And before that is done, as is the norm, we recommended suspension of those officers as the SEC does that. I think that is quite in order. So, honorable members, I seek that you support.
Honorable members, I now put the question that this assembly adopt the report of Public Accounts Committee on the consideration of the report of the retired General of the County Executive of Makueni for the year ended 30th of June 2023, laid on the table of the Assembly on 11th of March 2025. Will as many Will as many as of the opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable members, I have the following obligations to make. First, I've had some chairpersons of committee congratulate the Committee on Public Accounts Committee and the chairperson, instead of saying, I have learned from how this committee has done its work. So I've listened to all those members who have contributed, but they are chairs of other committees, and they are trying to congratulate how the recommendations are and how some participated in that committee. Then why don't you make your recommendations in your committee to be as such? Chairman user. So please take a leave from that committee. Besides the chairperson of the Committee on Environment, who felt that you should have done far much better than that. And I agree with him. I agree with the chairperson of the Committee on Environment. Now I give directions that the report of Public Accounts Committee on the report of the Auditor General, Account Executive, the year ended 30 June 2023, which was laid on the Assembly on the 11th of March 2023 and approved today, on 12th of March, be conveyed to the County Executive Committee member of Finance, Governor, the Deputy Governor, the County Secretary, and all other relevant County Executive Committee members. Further to that, the Clerk of the Senate, and to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission as recommended. Honorable members, that marks the end of our business today. Honorable members, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 31, paragraph 3, this assembly will be adjourned, and allow me to read for members who still have to be convinced. Standing Order number 31.3 provides that on a day when the County Assembly is scheduled to adjourn to a day other than the next normal sitting day, in accordance with the County Assembly calendar, the leader of the majority or the leader of minority party or other member of the County Assembly Business Committee shall move a motion of an adjournment which shall be debated not more than 3 hours, after which the County Assembly shall adjourn without a question put. Why the question will not be put is because we approved a calendar to start a sitting at a particular time and to end today at 5 p.m. So this is just a procedural and a traditional motion. It's not a substantive motion. So having persuaded you to that, may I then declare that this House stands adjourned until Monday, April 7th, year 2025 at 14:30 hours.